Hey, it'd be pretty much ready to go. Can we make it more aggressive on the timetable?
That is completely up to you, commissioners.
That'd be okay, I mean, if you think the group could. And also, I know that 1.2 might be what we have in the account, but we talked about, I think, something in these grants closer to 400,000. Right?
Yeah.
So this would be the annual amount. So this would be that's what we have for the year. Because we're hoping to have another round if you are agreeable to that too, so.
And we've allocated some money to the sheriff's department and others. We're not gonna, I think the consensus, we're not gonna spend the whole pot in 1 year on these funds. I mean, some of it could be carried over into the next year as well, because we built up to this amount over a couple of years, so we're not gonna be, I think our annual contributions are probably less than $500,000.
But they're gonna average about 250.
Yeah, so I don't think we wanna spend it all.
No, I agree. Would you like me to
Yeah, I think 400,000.
bring it down for the annual amount
I
to
think
4?
the annual assessment for the first year would be
Okay.
400,000, and then we need to
26.
assess things moving forward.
That's 100,000 exclusive of the sheriff's, right?
Right,
Okay.
just for these awards.
Right,
Right.
okay. And then are you okay with the tiers that we have there?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
That sounds good.
I think that's appropriate,
Okay.
to give us an opportunity to determine, what are the needs, and more importantly, I think from our last discussion, it was how are we gonna integrate this, knowing that we have a limited amount, how are we gonna get the most bang for the buck?
Absolutely. We have a period of performance for them that they would have to have the money spent 1 year from when they receive the award. Does that sound reasonable?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're also gonna ask, well, I think it'll come up, but for reporting, they will be reporting to me and we're gonna do it twice a year.
What is the level of reporting? Simply, are we using
Very
those?
similar to Commissioner's Fund. So it would just be that information provided to me.
Okay,
And then as far as, are you speaking about the state? As far as
yeah,
reporting to
so
the state later?
some of those other items that have
Right.
popped up that seem to be not mandatory, but would be a good idea, but such as there was indication of counting bed days, number of patients with Narcan or naloxone. Help me get, what were some of those other ones?
Yeah, because they are going to want to know where our money went to funding and
They're gonna,
how
yes.
efficient it is.
Right, but I think the question here is, yes, they're gonna wanna know what the money is spent for, and that's sort of the transparency of it.
Right,
But those other parameters, I think we're kind of guided towards, that's why I want the commissioners to know, we're kind of guided towards making this reporting process much more comprehensive and complex.
right.
And
Absolutely.
those are on the wish list, I believe, of the state, not mandated.
I thought too that not to go over that reporting on this time, like at this meeting in particular, since we're doing the application, but when we go over the reporting, it is gonna be dependent upon who we actually fund and what types of things that we're gonna need to report regarding their program.
Yes, very generic, yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
but if you're going to get into more details, then the application should indicate such. You apply for something and not knowing that, well, now I'm gonna have to report all these different
Exactly,
statistics,
right.
makes it quite a bit more complex. And I guess the question here for the commission right now is, how complex do you want this reporting to be? There's obviously mandated transparency, who we send it to, what they basically used it for, details on the expenditures, like Wendy said, very similar to the ARPA grant. There's another step where there's the thought process of, and I'll just use sort of a statistical analysis when it gets into it. And perhaps that simply applies if the agency is available or willing to share that information or can record and share that information.
So that information, the reporting requirements or suggestions, that Pat Kimball sent that over. That is gonna be something that we'll look at and review separately, and it will be included in this application, whatever you decide that you want to keep in it, so.
So are these requirements of the settlement, or are these requirements that the commission has established for their criteria?
That's what we're gonna go through.
Okay.
Right, so I don't wanna get you hung up on that, because we will go over that, but
Today, or?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay,
but we will go over that information because it's, gosh, I don't even remember how long it was, that information that she sent us from the Moss Group. So the Moss Group is helping
Okay.
us with all of this, which has been great.
So when you say we will review or go over this, when do you anticipate that would take place?
Hopefully the next meeting.
Okay.
so
Yeah.
I will send that back out to you again, and sort of throw in and update you with what we need for the next meeting. Obviously, with this is a workshop, you're not finalizing anything.
Meeting of the commissioner,
Meeting of the commission, no,
opioid-
meeting of the commission
Commissioner, right.
on September 3rd, to lay out some of those specific parameters that are what I'm gonna call on the wish list of the Moss Group and
Right.
the state's approach to this.
And
I think
we haven't,
which is to me, is on a much larger scale. And again, if we give to somebody, the commissioners award somebody, an amount, and it appears to be somebody that may be able to provide those statistics, bed days, did you provide additional bed days, things like that, then I think that's sort of on a voluntary basis rather than required.
and we as a group haven't gone over that paperwork yet.
Yeah,
So as an opioid committee, so I don't want to throw that at you before we even have a chance to
Okay.
go through it and
Right.
look at what things that may be,
right, right, but we can't
Important or not.
I don't feel you can finalize the application until you've seen that. 'Cause
well,
if
the
there-
application is separate from that.
But if there are if you're mandating requirements from these folks though, then it
Are
should
you
be.
talking about me sending this application out?
Yes,
I think that you should look at the application because it takes time. And to go over this application, I want you to be comfortable with the application. And I'm not saying release the application until we go over
Right.
that information.
Right.
So once we do that, then as a combined, packet, it would have that.
So
So this isn't over just as
Right.
today,
when
right?
is your next opioid advisory?
September
committee?
8th.
September 8th, so it will be following our meeting on the 3rd. So if we did not take action to approve this until September 3rd, that would not complicate things too much for you?
You mean the application? Well, it wouldn't,
yeah,
because it's not done.
it's not
Yeah,
ready for it, yeah,
exactly.
okay,
So today, because Commissioner Tremble had alluded to if we approved it, so we're not looking for an approval of this today, we're just.
I want you to review it, go through it, see what you don't like, see what you'd like, and then, I feel like it's gonna take steps, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm not trying to rush you.
I
right,
appreciate
And
that.
I want the information to be solid and that you understand what we're looking for.
Right.
And there's gonna be things you don't want in it. So I just wanna get through that.
Mhm.
And then I will bring it back after I, bring it to them on the next meeting of the things you wanted to change, right? And then I'll bring, after we've gone over that requirement paperwork,
Right.
then we can go with it and you can approve it all at once.
right.
I
The other-
think you've got the gist of what we want. I mean, if there are mandates within the settlement agreement, then we obviously
Of course.
have to make that
Yep.
somewhat of a priority. If there are recommendations of the state opioid commission that make sense to include in our process so there's more uniformity, I think that makes sense too.
Absolutely.
And then finally, what we feel is the most appropriate course for the monies that we're gonna dispense in Penobscot County.
Mhm.
And I guess the only other question I have, while these are smaller amounts, since we're starting out, I'm not sure that we want to write the full check to everyone until we understand. So there may be a draw process to this that the committee should consider as well.
Okay, and
You know,
I'm,
the smaller grants, if they're transparent enough, great. But if they're going to add positions or add services, I think we may not want to write the full disbursement all at once.
the way that you're suggesting makes sense, especially because this is going to be, a new thing, and we're hoping there'll be new programs or, new ideas. So I would not be adverse to that. I created a drawdown form that can easily be used in this situation as well.
I know you have extensive banking or lending background. Have you had a conversation with finance to just make sure logistically this is gonna work smoothly in their system too?
Well, we are getting a new system. We're so excited for it. So we are getting a new system,
Okay.
which will actually be probably a heck of a lot better than the system that we have now.
I
So,
just wanna make sure we're not putting extra burdens on the finance department if there's a way that they could suggest to the committee to present this to us.
and we can discuss that. We will definitely have line items the same way that we have with all of our different grants that we have. You know, I handle a bunch of different, so, yeah, we're equipped.
You might have had a comment, Scott.
The other reason I brought this up was going back to, that's why I believe that the November 15th application deadline was used, because this, again, today was a warm-up. There may be at least 1 or 2 more meetings before we can finalize this, so there's still more work to be done, so.
And we are trying to, not rush, but we are trying to be succinct in our meetings, take this, because I will be gone. I will be going out of the country, as you know, my daughter's getting married, so I'll be leaving on September 15th, and I'll be back October 9th.
Okay.
So we wanted to at least get some stuff put together so that it can get out there, so by the time I get back, you know, I'm ready to start looking through some of the applications with everybody.
Great.
Yeah, okay.
Any questions from the commission?
Yeah, I've got a couple of observations. Number one, the grant application, I like the idea, short, sweet, very simple, doesn't require somebody to get and retain a grant manager. I mean, those are about $175 an hour. These are gonna be smaller grants. I don't want to see them having to hire somebody.
They have me.
Yeah, well, but the whole point is, what I'm talking about is, these are observations that others have made in their application to the state.
Right?
It's so
Yes.
involved, it's a 15-page application form. So I really like that, keep it simple, keep it sweet. We've got the right limitations, look good. 2 issues that I wanted to look at. Number one, they have this open to for-profit.
Okay, so that's our next paragraph, eligible applicants, right?
Okay, you want to take that as we go?
Absolutely. So, because I knew there would be some concerns.
Just out of respect for the timing, do we need to go through this now, or do we want to wait until we've had a chance to review it and come back with our questions at the September meeting?
Well, I've already looked at this.
Well, you will run out of time.
No.
Believe me, we need to at least go through
Yeah.
some of this
Yeah, we
today.
could.
Yeah, I don't wanna
Read
pick
it
it.
all.
Yeah.
I've got 2 issues that need to be resolved up front. It'll make it easier for everybody going
Yes.
forward, I think.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And that is the scope and the depth of where we're going with this.
Yep.
One was opening up, and it is now the appropriate time to talk?
Yes, please.
Okay, we're talking about opening this up to for-profit.
Where is that in the application?
So we're right here on the
Page
first
3 on the
page,
top.
and it's the bottom paragraph.
Under organization status.
Eligible applicants. First
Keep going
page,
back.
first page.
No.
This is the first page.
Oh, that, good, gotcha,
Oh, it is there too, yeah.
okay.
So right here, we have Penobscot, so those that are providing services in Penobscot County who are public or private entities, nonprofit or for-profit. How do you feel?
I don't think that we have a very limited amount. It's my understanding, and I don't know if, I'm still waiting to get the information, that in the first round of the state's grant, that there were no grants in Penobscot County. That Barn didn't get it. I know.
No, that's not true. There were ones that were in Penobscot County.
Can you identify any of those?
Gosh, I went through it. One of them was,
Can you pull it off the AG's website?
I feel like, did Save a Life get money on that?
No, they did not.
No, it did not. Okay.
No. Save a Life didn't, Peer-to-peer
I
was
know Fresh Start
disqualified,
did
Barn
not.
did not get anything.
But I do remember going through because they were trying to be, you know, responsible and make sure all the counties receive funding. And I do know that they did. There was one that I was like, how is that our county? But they did consider that it was like part of it. If it was our channel or something.
Based in one county.
Well, my point is that these are gonna be focused strictly on Penobscot County, as they should be.
Yes.
It should be, because it's limited, I think we should go with the not-for-profit only, not the for-profit. That's gonna water down everything, I think.
I'm gonna put that as, I'll send you the Penobscot County ones that the state qualified. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Maybe there's some reason that for-profit was in there. I know it says preference over here. I think if you have two equal organizations, one's profit, one's non-profit,
Right.
we're gonna give it to non-profit. So I can't think of a for-profit. Can you give an example of a
Well,
for-profit?
when we
that might-
started this, Fresh Start was a for-profit
Right, okay,
organization,
they
right?
were, exactly.
And then they changed over to nonprofit
Yeah.
status. There may be hospitals that
Yeah,
are
that's why I just don't
for-profit,
wanna
you know, like, there's probably things out
Exclude
there.
anybody that might be a good applicant, so
These,
Correct.
I just assume say it. We don't have to give it to them, but just say right now, we're not gonna even consider anything. You never know who might need funds.
I think the primary focus that I have is that these are integrated efforts, that we're not funding people that are trying to compete for a client base or a patient base, because we've only got so much money, so this should be used in whatever ways.
Yeah, pretty small amount, actually, yeah.
Yeah,
I believe, yeah.
so,
So whatever you decide,
this language is
obviously I'm
taken
okay
from the
with.
state application,
The
right?
Moss Group sent out the application as a template for us.
Who did?
To go, the Moss Group.
Okay,
And we went through and alleviated things that they just didn't pertain to our county. But there were a few things that the group wanted to keep in that of course goes to you and you get the final say.
yeah,
So
right.
I'm happy to put down whatever you decide.
Well, yeah, my thought is, we need to focus, the money is limited. We have identified organizations that have been providing this service in Penobscot County for quite a few years. I think if we open it up to for-profit, it's gonna just have that many more applications you're gonna have to bring in and throw into the mix, and I think, in my opinion, is it's unnecessary. I think, in my opinion, it shouldn't even be included in the original application form for profit.
maybe you could give us some ideas at the next meeting of who in that category might have submitted applications for the state grants. And if, without too much work, you identified a few people, like the one that you mentioned, that might be a resource in the county that we should understand before we make a decision on.
Sure. Okay, so I'll make a note regarding
That's-
for-profit.
That's fine.
Who might they be?
I just don't want to throw false hope and have an avalanche overwhelm in
Sure.
applications from organizations, say, oh, well, here's a pool of money, let's go for that. And in the meanwhile, we're trying to focus that and use our limited resources in our county for those organizations that have been providing, in my opinion, they've been providing this at their own cost or for years. Now we have an opportunity to help allay those costs, and I want to avail ourselves of every opportunity to do that.
One of the things that we did in ARPA was when we received an application where the amount was so vast, right? Like their project was massive. We certainly wouldn't allow them to like put in an application for a piddly less than 50 grand, right? So this is a small amount as well. If we see somebody's project and then they're like campaigning for getting all of this money for it, that's just not feasible because we're trying to help those that are really urgently in need. So there's time and there's also the fact that the project may just be too big for what the funding that we have.
Okay, did you have a second item?
Yeah, the other one is, could you go over with us the scope of harm reduction? What does harm reduction entail in the current proposal?
Well, I know what you're going through. as far as what you didn't want, did you want to just go on to talk about needle exchange? 'Cause I know
Yeah,
that was what you wanted to
that
talk
is the
about.
thing with me. I support harm reduction, but not needle exchange, needle distribution, needle buyback. That to me is a no-starter. That is, there are organizations to provide that, and they provide these services. But when it comes to our program, I think that is funding both ends of the same war. I think we have limited monies, and I don't think we should be considering the needle exchange as that aspect of harm reduction as a qualifier for these funds. What other types of harm reduction did the committee, or does the committee consider?
When you look at, when you go under allowable uses of funds and funding restrictions, that's page 6. That may be helpful for you to just look at some of the things that they're talking about, which was the core strategies, approved uses, prevention, treatment. This is probably going to be where you need to look through, because that one on core strategies where it talks about expanding syringe service programs, that I know was what you had brought up to me too. So I agree, you're going to have to look through this finally and say, no, I don't like that, or this is okay.
So I'm assuming some of these things either come from the settlement or the State Opioid Commission?
These are all approved uses of what someone can do with this money, right? So it's a broad amount, and it really is succinct. It's trying to make sure they covered everything. But you may find that some of these things you agree with and some of them you don't. So, I mean, that's just really up to you.
This is a list of disqualifying, or not disqualifying, but
Qualifying.
And they were provided as part of, it's through the lawsuit.
but the language is disjunctive, meaning it's not conjunctive, it's just, so they give us an option. These are a host of things that they
Yes.
allow for.
That's correct.
And what I'm saying is from that disjunctive group, we should clearly articulate those which we will not consider.
As a group, yes.
Yes, as a group. That's my simple point.
Okay.
So when you get your ice cream, they'll ask you, do you want whipped cream, nuts, and a cherry on that? And if you don't.
And I say all three.
But I think in all seriousness, if we are mirroring some of the things that are consistently done in the application process, we don't have to approve of those in our final assessment. And I think you're probably sensing from this, there are some concerns of the commission when it comes to issues that our advisory committee should look at.
I think that, yes, absolutely.
Okay. I'm just trying to simplify. I don't want to be overwhelmed with hundreds and hundreds of applications in, when we know that these are not things that the commissioners are going to be receptive to.
I don't know that we have hundreds and hundreds of people out there, to be honest.
When you open up to the for-profit, don't be surprised.
So sorry, Chair, can I ask this? For the benefit of the committee, is there a consensus amongst the commission with regards to needle exchange, or whether to remove it, include it? I'm not asking for a vote here, I'm just, sort of a consensus, or we just?
Well, I don't feel that strongly, except I don't think we really need to use opiate settlement funds for that, because I think there's plenty of state funds that they use for the needle exchange programs, and there's plenty of programs out there. So, if those weren't being met now, I think that's being met now. So that's the reason I don't think we need to.
Yeah, all right, thanks, yeah. Because you will have the final say when it comes to awarding these, so if they do get an application from somebody but again, out of Commissioner Marshall's point, to some kind of save time.
Yeah, and why put them through that,
Exactly.
just set people's expectations as to what we're wanting to do with, with the funding.
Because this does not specifically say needle exchange, it says syringe service programs, which may be the collection of those items that unfortunately are ending up in public places in the bushes,
Yeah,
so.
Bangor spent some of the
I
money.
was gonna
Yeah.
say that Bangor City did, what was it, Street Smart or
Right,
something, you know, so they
yeah, they-
have people that are supposed to be picking up.
Yeah, to give them a shout, there's the Wabanaki.
Yeah, they picked up the contract.
And they picked up the contract and they did an awesome job
Yeah.
across the street, 370 some odd syringes, so thank you.
That's
Hope
right.
you're listening, thank you. Yep.
Yeah,
And they're
so,
doing a great job down Penobscot Plaza.
yeah.
Yeah,
To
that's
that
right.
end,
Yeah.
we recognize that we're not going to be able to curtail the disposal by users, so maybe, you know.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, I think you get the gist of it.
Okay,
Does that
just
satisfy
put
your
a red
concern?
line through it.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
my position is very clear.
Okay.
And I think like one of the things that I had, you know, that was in my mind, like Randy Jackson had brought out, that there hasn't been enough or funding availability to address the needs of pregnant and postpartum women. That was one of the things that he had brought out at our meeting. And if you go through some of these, you know, the neonatal abstinence syndrome, expanding treatment for that. So there's things that I haven't seen, you know, so it is important for you to go through these core strategies to see what you agree or disagree with. And
Would it be
So,
helpful
you know.
if we prioritize some of these core strategies?
sure,
I think that,
sure,
that could
absolutely,
get to
yeah.
the root of some individual
No, I was
concern.
thinking, then they, you score the
Yes.
applications, if they're focused on what we want to focus on, they get more points.
Especially because for the rubric, you know, that we're using, like, there are gonna be like, look, we're looking for these things. And if there's a priority, absolutely, sure.
All right,
That
Okay.
sounds
any,
very practical.
anything further?
If you're okay with what we've gone over so far, because I'm trying to make sure that your
No,
next meeting is not going to be 3 hours long.
Understood,
Okay.
and appreciated.
But yes, a lot of this information in the application is just to educate people as well. So even though it may look like a packet, it really is like just explaining the definitions of things and what the different treatment plans would be. And so I think it is pretty brief when
Yeah,
you get into
this
it.
is a well-presented, this is exactly the type of thing that the commissioners, I think, would be looking for, and that an applicant would be looking for, something that is short, sweet, to the point, it's clearly defined, has objectives set, and they don't have to hire somebody to
Absolutely.
fill it out and to get some relief from the county.
Yeah, they did a great job with it.
They did.
And even the allowable uses, I think, in the actual official form on the with the lawsuit is gotta be like 8 to 10 pages long, if I remember right. So this is a very comprehensive,
Oh boy,
very summarized.
we went through it,
Yeah,
yes,
yep.
yeah.
Just an FYI, somewhat related to this, at convention next month, we will have a panel with Gordon Smith,
Oh, I love him. Mhm.
Representative
So knowledgeable.
Adam Lee, who is an attorney who worked on some of these suits. I've invited Shana Sachs to come, she is checking her
Oh,
schedule.
good, yeah.
And then a company that provides a product that can dispense naloxone in public settings, kind of like an AED. That will be part of the
Okay.
Thursday afternoon panels that we have at the county convention.
Oh, good.
Is that the one you were gonna invite me to, but you
Yeah.
didn't? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that would be nice for you to attend that.
But if you could send a surrogate from the committee that would like to be there, certainly.
When is it again? You said
It's going to
September.
be on the 18th of September.
18th through the 20th.
That,
Ooh, that's the
that
date.
might be,
But isn't that the PCHC groundbreaking day, if I'm not incorrect?
Thursday.
I don't think Thursday is, but.
It's
Thursday.
whatever
check
the
out,
18th.
Yeah,
Either way, if somebody
Okay.
from the committee,
Well, I'll put
let
that-
me
yeah.
know, and I would offer them a
September
guest pass to come to city
18th?
limit. 18th of September,
Okay.
Tabasco Harbor Resort in Pittsburgh, Maine.
Great. And it's, okay.
Yep.
And then I want to attend.
yeah. Kimball
I
would be
think that would
great.
be
Pat Kimball would
wonderful.
be great. Yeah,
Yeah,
which she's definitely involved in all that.
yeah. That would, yeah, absolutely. Okay,
Thank you very
Jess.
much.
Absolutely. Thank you for your
Thank
See
time.
you on the 3rd.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Commissioners,
Yes,
Awkwardly, we were muted during the announcement of public comment. You do have somebody.
Okay.
You guys like to back up to that?
Whoops,
Yeah.
Daisy.
So we will reopen the agenda for public comments, and we allow 3 minutes.
That's all set up for him.
No, okay.
We have Janet Drew.
Okay, so Janet, you are welcome to present your comments if you would like to.
Hello, Janet Drew, York, Maine. I appreciated hearing the opioid report from the data manager. I'm a Board of Visitors in York County Jail. And so I've been interested all along in how ARPA money was spent, and now I'll be interested in how different counties choose to spend this money. The thing that seems striking to me is how little of it actually so far has gone to those agencies on the ground. The church groups, people who want to be there when somebody's in trouble so that they don't end up in jail. And so as you contemplate again, building a bigger jail, I don't understand why you don't, hopefully this would do it. A diversion program, identify people. We need support in trials for people. They have no, you fund, the county fund prosecution, and there's insufficient funding for defense, and poor people just sit in jail and lose their jobs. So I hope a diversion program with funding for support on the outside that keeps people on the right track would be something that you'd seriously consider, and maybe slow down your thoughts about the jail. Like I said, I'm on the Board of Visitors. People say to me, I've been in other jails. This is the best jail I've ever been in, the York County Jail. But they say, but it's still a jail. It's not where treatment should happen. It's not where diversion decisions should be made. That's a court decision. And there should be adequate defense for people. The last thing I have to say is I remind you of the culture study that was done at Penobscot County Jail. They said, yeah, the building's bad, but the culture's worse. That's what it came down to. Whatever summary you gave it, that's what it came down to. Don't build a bigger, worse culture. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further that we have online?
No.
Okay, thank you, Brian. At this point, we will close public comments again and ask our UT team to come up. Good day.
Good day.
We have handouts. We didn't meet till Monday with the TIP committee, and after the TIP committee meeting, this is a result of that, so
Thank you.
we didn't have it prepared ahead of time.
Not a problem. Appreciate the work. Do you have any summary comments you'd like to share with us while we're reviewing?
It's in the red on the second page. Is any changes we made from information you've received before today?
So the committee recommends adopting the changes to the Penobscot County TIF district application for funding that were proposed in the memorandum dated August 18th, 2025 by Rudman and Winchell, and the draft rewrite. In the TIF committee meeting today, August 25th, the committee reviewed the contract with Eastern Maine Development Corp. Dated November 6th, 2025. And that would relate to the contract for an economic development director.
Yes.
The committee voted unanimously not to continue to use TIF funds to support this economic development contract. The review could find little or no positive impact for the unorganized territory residents over the last 7 years of the agreement. The other red I see here is attached memorandum dated August 18th from Rudman and Winchell. And that would be the next 2 pages up here.
Yeah. Which you have received those.
I just bring this up because it wasn't in the packet, so anyone
Right.
looking at that online
Would not have known
received
that,
it.
right.
So out of respect, we'll probably not take any action today.
I didn't expect we were gonna take any action today. This is more of a, give you guys a chance to mull it over between now and next week's meeting. See if you have any more further questions, and we can discuss in detail today, whatever you think you have on your mind about these recommendations from the TIF committee.
So if there's a part of the county that got most of the TIF money, should we ask them to make any comments?
I've just got a couple of questions. One, I think what Redmond, the recommendations made sense to me, the findings. My question is on how we actually, it's on the second part about the economic development position. And I agree, it was a stretch, I think, to use the funds. But was that actually, when we started that, was the TIF committee involved, or did the commissioners just say, we're gonna use some of the TIF money to do that?
We had a TIF committee from day one.
No, but did they have to review that, or the commissioners just decided?
They did. I was still involved at that time, way back in the early days. Yeah,
So
they did
it
review.
went through the committee?
It went through the committee, but
recommendation.
ultimately it was a choice of the commission to make something happen.
So, no, I didn't think that, I don't know if we need to go to zero, but I mean, we'll discuss that later. But the other thing thought we would ask Redmond about, because that was the only issue I had with the initial recommendation, was about doing loans and all. I know there's a lot of consternation of the committee about doing loans, but I didn't see, did Redmond weigh in on the loans? I didn't see them.
Not on the memo. They took the loans out of the application process. And our legal question to them was, when we first signed up with the DECD, the Department of Economic and Community Development, who allows us to have the TIF. When we first signed up with them, we said we were gonna do loans and grants. Our question was, do we have to do that because that's the way we requested the funds to be used? And their answer was no, we didn't have.
Oh, I know you have, I thought the question was, can we do, because a couple of people on the TIF committee saying, it's not even something we could do because of confidentiality, and I'm thinking, that doesn't make sense. I mean, the city, we do small business, I mean, we do small loans.
I can address your question. It was the same question you asked a while back. And we were very fortunate Monday, we had the entire TIF committee there, everybody was available, so it was a great discussion. And they don't want to do loans at this time. However, they left it wide open to continue to be offer loans out of the TIF. We didn't remove them from the TIF program. We removed them from the application process.
Right.
In other words, if you found somebody in the UT that wanted to build a sawmill or some other mechanism, and they needed our help, and this was one way to do it, then they'd come back. And at that point, you'd hire a consultant to manage that loan.
Right, no, that's where I was coming
Right.
from before. It didn't make sense, so I'm okay with that.
So the committee basically stated that Monday, that they'd love to continue to do loans, but not in the terms and the way we got it set up today.
Yeah, we don't want to institutionalize it, say a certain percentage has to go to loan.
No,
I would say,
no.
but the option still presents itself.
We've been fortunate because these recommendations leave us open to make change in the future.
Oh, I'm good with that.
That was good.
Anything?
No, very good.
Mr. Treasurer?
Okay. I commend the TIF committee. I've looked at your recommendations and well thought out, well reasoned, and very to the point.
Okay. Anything further that you would like to share with us in today's workshop?
No, but Mainstream Finance, D, is going to be here on the 3rd to present an application that we reviewed also at that meeting. And her contract is up, or their contract is up, and they're going to hold the price, they're going to hold the line on the price, so it was $10,500 last year, it'll be $10,500 this year, so she'll have her application for you guys to review and sign at the same time.
Is that Joe Mary? Is that the Joe
It
Mary?
was the Joe Mary was the grant that we reviewed.
Are you still working with Matt, doing the outdoor center on the TIF project?
Yes. It's at the point now where Matt had to provide more information to our lawyer and his, and we met with Matt a week or so ago, a little over a week ago, and he's in the middle of gathering that information, so the lawyers are still talking. We haven't moved beyond that point, but that's the only real true economic development we have in the unorganized territories in Penobscot County is doing that outdoor center.
In regards to that, I'm assuming that legal fees come from the TIF fund, not from the county?
Yes, except as we move forward with this new TIF, those funds will come out of the UT until at some point we do get a tax increment finance program. And then if that happens, that would pay the UT backed those funds out of that TIF.
But it's UT, not county.
It's UT, not county.
All right.
Yep.
Anything further? Thank you very much. And I think at one point, Peter, I'd asked you about the list, the spreadsheet that we could look at, all of the contracts.
Oh, yeah, I
We'll
have
send it out
that.
again. We'll send it out again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll send it to all you guys.
Yeah, I've sent it, I think I doctored it up a little bit, so I can send it again, but, yeah.
I may have missed it. I don't know if my colleagues did. Thank you.
You bet.
Director Palmer, you're up. What great things do you bring us today, Brenda?
Financial policies
All
and
right.
procedures, everyone's favorite topic. So I don't know if you had a chance to review.
I would be shocked if the commissioner from the 3rd district has not thoroughly vetted this procedure.
Absolutely, committed to memory.
There are a few sections that are still in a draft mode as we move to a new general ledger system, and also, as I told you last time, I got this policy from County of Aroostook, with the blessing of the state. So there's some policies in there, I think they're good policies, we don't necessarily adhere to them, so I kind of highlighted them and want to go over it with Scott at some point. There's not that many though, I think we're generally in pretty good shape. There was one I wanted to point out that might be worth talking about. It's on page 18
Probably the same one I got.
on this check signing.
Yes.
So currently, we just require one signature on all checks, no matter the amount.
Okay.
I'm thinking it might be a good idea to start requiring two. I don't know, what do you think, Treasurer?
Well, I have an issue with the one signature, because on the statute, I'm supposed to be the one that signs all disbursements,
So,
if I interpret the statute.
yeah, so I brought
So,
that
yeah.
up recently, because I received a reimbursement check and saw a name on it, went,
Yeah.
what?
And I
So,
saw a check a couple weeks ago,
we
so,
do-
yeah, we
that
will.
I'm the only one required,
You
I'm
should.
the only one.
Yeah, the treasurer's name should
Right.
be on there, yeah,
Yep.
yes.
And then in case I cannot fulfill my job, then it becomes to the deputy treasurer, who I don't know if we've
Yeah, so we
named
could-
yet.
Well,
Yeah.
we typically, generally, it's the finance director, is the
Right.
deputy treasurer, yeah.
That's the only two signatures.
Yeah.
That we need. So when it comes to two signatures, it should be probably myself and a commissioner. If it's 100,000, if you want to look
And I
at the
think that was kind of
$100,000.
a random
Yeah,
amount,
sure
I mean, we could go higher, $500,000.
That's what I was looking at.
We
when I
don't
read
write that many checks over $1 million, but,
Is it $1 million? Oh, it's
so
100.
here's
It's
100,000.
100,000, but I wouldn't, I'd go higher. But
So,
I mean, I think it's a good control to have.
couple questions I have. Number one, what does the banking institution recognize? Because I know we can require something on our side, but,
Yeah, we would have to change our policies with them.
okay.
Yeah.
And the second gets back to the question of the deputy treasurer. I know at one point, we specifically assigned that to the finance director, but I don't know if we did it to the position or to the individual. So we may want to reflect on whether we should have a vote to make Brenda as current finance.
Yep, I think the treasurer and Brenda and finance director Palmer should talk, and then next week, the next meeting, we can bring it back.
Okay.
Yeah. With regards to two signatures, it is great control. However, we have a lot of controls that, before it even gets to that point of signing the checks. And it's just the fact of, especially only meeting twice a month, of having somebody available to sign that check. Now, especially if it's 100,000, I would say much higher, maybe $250,000. Only because one of them is, and I'm not so sure on health insurance if that would even be enough, but
I was thinking half.
half, okay, yeah.
Half of that.
So again, I think that's for maybe you and the finance director to discuss, and then once, and I mean, I'd be happy to be part of that discussion, but, yeah, definitely the treasurer's name should be on the check. If,
That's why
whether
state
statute
statute.
says it or not, that's just sort of me as respectful, and I think that's just one of the things that, Brenda and I talked about that prior. That's just one of those things that, there's a couple of things that have jumped up ahead recently that,
Thanks.
Okay,
And then just another area that we need to get a handle on is stale checks. We have quite a few checks that have never been cashed. I just don't have the resources to dig into that right now, but we do need to get in compliance with that.
Most banks will catch them after 90 days.
right.
And that's one of the, I think our county checks, they don't have a void after
Oh, maybe
date.
we should put that.
When we
yeah.
get our new checks, we're gonna put that
Yeah,
on
put
there.
the void date on
So I know we have, I think, was it 3 months we have to respond to the BOCA findings? 'Cause that,
Yeah.
this came about,
Yeah, I think when Tony sent it back.
it.
I think it's when we approved that letter going back, which was the last meeting.
Yeah.
That gives you a 90-day window, so.
Yeah.
so I don't know, I mean, if we're looking for approval on these or. what the
I think
next
if you can get it even closer for the first, if you've made progress, and for me, again, I would stick to the system that we currently have. Who knows, it could get delayed, I hope not, but, and then we make amendments, bring it back for amendments when that happens, and that way we can address the voter issue. We would finally have internal controls. Another one back on the checks is the separation of duties is even more important, really, than the double signature.
Yeah.
Because if I'm looking at it, I know one individual seems to be doing the AP now, and that same individual was on the signed check, and I'm like,
No, that's.
okay, so we communicated and talked about that, so just talking in open session, full transparency, that's kind of where I need you to get involved and say, okay, we need to change a few things, and
Same with taking in money
Yeah.
and expending money.
right. And even if you aren't available and it's done with a stamp, and you need somebody else to stamp them, it needs to
Yeah.
be somebody else that didn't do AP,
Right,
separate, yes.
right, no,
Yes,
And we are
no,
reviewing all
right,
expenditures, but yeah.
yeah, they do have my stamp, yeah.
Yep.
Could you wear it out once a year?
I would think so, at least, okay.
So just for those listening in the audience or who may not be familiar with the alphabet acronyms, VOCA is Victims of Crime Act.
Yes,
Correct, yeah.
Thank you.
So it's the state of Maine grant. But this will suffice for all grants.
Right.
Our
Yeah.
auditors, will be happy to see something like
Yes.
this.
that's one of those things we've been like dings annually on not having proper internal control, so.
All right,
So it covers many boxes.
Many,
any other good news from finance?
Working away on 1095s. 2021 should be done today. Paper versions. 2022, I had to start from scratch, so that's, I think we're gonna use a software product that will upload a file and it will create individual forms.
Okay.
Getting that file produced is probably gonna take a few more days, but making progress.
Good, doing great work, yeah. If I could, Chair, can we segue back to this, internal controls again?
Yes.
Because last meeting, there was a little bit of concern over the term, foreign used in.
foreign,
We looked it up, we checked it out, and the verbiage in there is the willful act of willful and knowledge of committing crimes under federal, state, local, and foreign jurisdiction. So it's referencing if we had anybody that had committed foreign crimes or crimes in a foreign country, that, we would not allow that. And I think that's something that we should have in there, but are you all set with that now, Commissioner?
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
I
all right.
just, thanks for that clarification.
Yep, that's what it referenced, yep. We even asked Al. AI for,
Penobscot County reviews the selection of its independent auditors every 3 years?
Again, there's
Is
a,
that in the?
I would be careful of reading it.
Maybe we need to change that,
We,
Every so often did you review?
yeah. When necessary, what page is that on?
What page?
Yeah, I highlighted that one
City-
too. Yeah.
I, page 25,
Yeah, because nowadays it's difficult.
yeah.
There's less and less.
What was the
Yeah.
one about a banking?
We should
Did
probably
we say how often
These-
banking
these are
relationship?
that should be every 3 years and no more than 5. So that was always a standard, yeah. Yep.
That's in the old one, that's.
Yeah, so when it's, honestly, when it's kind of forgotten for several years, it takes some time to bring it back.
Yep. Appreciate the diligence on that.
No. What?
Thank you, Brenda. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Did we just do that?
I do not see HR in the room.
Oh, yeah. While we're waiting, can we take care of Chris Fox?
Oh, yes, we can.
Yeah, he's not on the agenda, but there was a request to,
Please, come on down.
yep.
Good day. Good morning. It is.
I think it's under admin.
Okay. This is the request regarding finance.
Yes.
No objections to adding that to today's agenda? Oh, okay, here we go. Take it away, hi.
So Commissioner Marshall had reached out after we met last time. I presented this information and I had an opportunity to discuss it with him. And I realized after that I had not necessarily presented all the information to allow you to make a more informed decision, specifically what the impacts would be on our current budget. In that there's not going to be an impact in a overage amount. So I provided that information to Commissioner Marshall per his request, and this is I'm just here to discuss it or answer any questions.
Yeah, one of
We're
the,
all familiar with there's been a standing request from EMA to add a position in finance. Right now, if I understand it correctly, you're sharing with the finance department and, no.
No, right now there's a part-time individual that is at 24 hours in correct director of, that works under EMA.
it's at 25 hours, and we want to up it to 29, 4 more hours, still be under the full time to the end of the year to take care of business that the commissioner has, that the director has brought to our attention, with the understanding that in the future, it'll have to be done through, if it is indeed going to include more than that, it should go through finance and through the administrators going forward. Is that?
Yeah, the request today is to increase it to 29 hours from 24, so 5 hours. In the memo that you have, there's some information that would indicate that the budget would support it. Today for me, again, we're to keep it in the spirit of the workshop, that no votes are taken here today. However, that it could come back on the 3rd, and I think the overall thought process is that if you award it then, if you approve it, then it would begin on the 3rd, so we would send in September. And we would go from there. And I think what Commissioner Marshall is alluding to is if at one point there was a wish or desire of yours to expand it even further.
Correct.
Promote it even further, and if that happens, it needs to go through the budget process.
Yes, and we're prepared for that process as well.
Okay, great.
And her major duties is?
So she does our billing processing, our tracking of reimbursements. She does, well, let's see here, several other things. Yeah, so the billing, invoicing, accounts. She works with our finance department to get bills paid, working with our managing of our funds, as well as working with our grant reimbursements and tracking those funds, making sure that when we send something to MEMA
Right.
We're getting it in as timely as a manner as we can with them, and then if there's discrepancy, she works through that, and if there's discrepancies through what we send through to finance, she works on tracking those things to make
Those are
corrections.
grant requirements specific to your department that have reporting requirements, and this will facilitate the time to accomplish that, which currently you do not believe you have the time to handle those and conduct your regular operations.
Yeah, correctly, not in the most effective manner to push it through.
It's a reasonable request. It's focused, it's limited, and going forward, it should be rolled into a more comprehensive project.
Yeah, I think as we look to make emergency management more effective through the growth that has already been progressed over the last few years, and the things that are going to continue to be put on the plate of the county emergency management offices through federal changes, this is just going to be a necessary requirement to make sure that we are in compliance with grants, because we don't just handle grants that impact the county government, but we also pass through funds to other towns, and that's involved in our county, and that involves maintaining and making sure that they're working in compliance with the grant, and that they're getting their money spent in the right amount of time, which has taken much of my time in the last few weeks, that normally would have shifted to Sheila to keep tracking on if she had the time to get that done.
And she is on a part-time basis now. She doesn't serve a role in any other part of county government.
That's correct, yes. We are, go ahead, sir.
If I could just remind the commission, so this position was created when I first came aboard because under prior director Newting, who Chris served under as deputy director, they brought this issue to me, and we had an individual who was prepared to leave county government that we thought would fit the mold. And under a part-time basis, I, at this time, will still agree that it is better to leave things as they are. However, as we have talked, I've also personally been very involved in finance and have helped integrate EMA into finance a little bit. And so, this position as it sits today as a part-time, I think will function well. As we discuss, if it goes any further, there'll be other points, but this was created, I just want to point out, this was created under my approval, with your approval, but while I was here, as your administrator, and brought it to the commission, and thankfully so, and it has worked. But as things grow, I think it's even more vital that it maintains an even stronger connection with finance and overseeing when you're talking about numbers, reconciliation, balances, debits and credits, revenues and expenses, it's all under accounting. So, but we'll have that discussion later, I'm sure.
Well, given the previous conversations and presentation, that seems eminently logical.
Okay.
So what I'm taking from this is really a finance position that should contract with EMA as opposed to an EMA finance position.
I think right now, as we straighten things out,
Okay.
as we start, and again, for Brenda, for Director Palmer to have, get her feet even more solid under that, we leave things as they are. And I think Chris and I agree on that, Director Fox and I agree on that. And where it goes in the future, we may not. But again, we'll talk about that budget time, but I would support moving up the additional hours if you wished, and to take that vote in the next meeting, that I would lend my support to that.
My only personal concern is we're seeing a reduction in funding coming to the county EMA from the sources that it historically is.
We are, but but we're also, as Director Fox pointed out, we're seeing an increased level of accountability. And we're not going to be able to avoid that, no matter what pot of money that comes from. So again, I think great point, as we continue to move forward, that's also going to be part of the discussion.
Okay.
Yep.
Anything further? Appreciate your presentation. We'll look forward to seeing you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Next meeting.
Thank you, Director.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to see you tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. HR, come on down.
Let's deal a little out.
I believe we're looking at opening of RFPs.
Yes, please. Oh, Mary Ann's not here, I could have got her. I apologize, I'm down staffing today, so I'm playing tag team with Mary Ann.
That's all right.
There's that one.
Did we lose the sacred letter openers that you?
Maybe. I was just gonna. Thought she had sent.
We have a number, huh?
Anybody have the?
We have at least 6. Some of them did not have a return address, so they may be duplicates
Okay,
of ones, the envelopes they had chosen to email us.
understood.
And so there may be hard copies of the 6 that came in later.
So there was no time limit, so we just opened it. Yep. I have one from a Lockton Companies of Boston, Massachusetts.
Yes.
I got a lock in too.
Okay, it may very well be.
Yes, they did send a digital and a hard copy.
Okay,
So there might be multiple copies of the same one.
Yeah.
Okay.
okay. Penobscot County. Ellen? There you are.
Another box. I don't know if I want to open up a box.
Nothing's come out of the envelope you opened,
It's
so.
probably already been shooken once or twice, so as long as it's not ticking.
Remember that one we opened that had all that paper in?
And suspecting that.
Page 44, if you're looking for the
Page
correct.
44, thank you.
Oh,
44. Page 45. 44. So this gives proposed compensation ranges. Is that what we wish to disclose today?
Yeah, yes, that is what we're looking at.
I would say so.
Okay. So that's what we're taking bids on, is what the compensation would be to the agent representing us for health insurance.
Correct.
Okay.
Take one home for when you're bored.
So, Lockton, which is
Marshall Johnson or? say the right
housed in Boston, Massachusetts. That may be their
Boston.
year one, is how they've listed it. Proposed compensation range regardless of method. Year one, 12 months, $100,000. Year two, 12 months, $100,000. Year three, again, $100,000. If the option to extend to year four, it would go to 115, and the same in year five.
That's pretty.
That's Lockton. The next up appears to be Acadia Insurance, Acadia Benefits, I mean,
Yep.
and I believe I only have one copy.
I've got 5, I gave one to
Oh,
Tony,
okay, okay,
and
thank
the
you.
others are here.
That's on page 72, Commissioner, and
Thank you.
it's not well advertised, but it's right in the middle of the page,
Okay.
Is it the highlighted section there?
just above it. It's wrapped into the last sentence above the blue line.
We propose an annual compensation of $60,000 for the scope of employee benefit services requested in the RFP for year 1 to 3. For year 4 and 5, we would apply a 5% inflation adjustment each year. Any questions on the Acadia benefits proposal? So that's number 2. Number 3 appears to be that's Acadia benefits.
Yes, they sent digital
Yep.
and hard copy.
Okay. So I believe I am now looking at Barney Benefit Advisors.
Good.
Did you get a copy of that one?
they only sent that digital, so you have the only available copy today.
Okay, there appears to be 2 copies here,
Okay,
unless I'm looking at,
Marion,
No.
it may be that good.
no, there's actually the health plan annual reporting, and then the employee benefit plan benchmark analysis. So, let's see what they've offered us here.
That's the morning, right?
Yep.
Page 29 looks like, I don't know.
Page 29
Well, no.
on the big one?
This is the,
For action needed, I think that is.
Find out, I think.
That's pharmacy. Pharmacy. And all appears to be related to,
Yeah, I forget how to use that cover page that sort of right in front.
there's nothing in here on, is that part on pricing?
so that's fine.
That's not in there? Let me just put these together.
Well, there's a letter, it seems to be a letter there.
In here?
Doesn't it say council here?
No, not in that one.
You wanna pass that to me and I'll take a look
Certainly.
through
Take a look at this again and see. All right. Client checklist, sample, rule, timeline, sample rule.
Here, go on.
Well, we're gonna take them under advisement anyway, but
Yeah, but
shame on them if we can't find it easily.
that's perhaps, okay. We will,
When I bring this back for recommendation, I will have the prices filled out for all 6, that way you
Yeah.
can announce them
Yeah.
before we make a recommendation.
Yeah, that with a cover letter, with your cover letter, that would be appropriate.
Fee structure is what you're looking for, right?
Yep,
Okay, awesome.
yeah, maybe this is free.
Lion, I had it right on
Lion.
top, right on top.
oh, here we go. Thank you.
I guess, that's the way that's what I saw.
Fee structure, commission-based, fee-for-service, or hybrid. Alliant is proposing compensation not to exceed $75,000 that can be offset by ancillary product commission. The Alliance cost proposal in Exhibit 6. So that's 3 of the 4 that we've opened so far. Barney is still under review. We are now looking at Cross Insurance's proposal. Current fee structure, commission-based fee-for-service hybrid. Based on the RFP presented, we envision the following. Benefits, medical benefit, carrier Cigna, fee or commission. They have it at an annualized estimate. They've got a $28 PEPM.
Per employee.
Yeah. Annualized estimate, $67,200. So I guess that would be predicated on who ultimately we've got on the plan, so we've got a.
Yes.
Okay. So that is Cross. Do we have anyone else? We have 5 from what I'm seeing here. We still haven't,
So the mystery package on
The
number
mystery
6
package
is crossed, yes,
was locked in,
yes.
was locked, was a second locked in.
So yeah, there should have been 5 total.
Oh, there's 5,
You're all
okay.
set,
Yeah.
yep.
Barney, Cross, Lockton, Alliant, and Acadia.
Yeah.
so we're just still waiting to see if we can identify Barnes, and so far,
Brian, you did.
Oh, we'll give it to you now.
Okay.
I was being facetious,
Okay,
yeah.
so I would entertain a motion as to what to do with
I
the,
move we take these under
I
five.
was gonna
Yeah.
second, we take motions and votes and workshops?
well, I know we historically have precedence not to do
Yeah.
that, but do we need a motion in order for you to take it under?
No, I don't think you need a motion to do that, and, yeah, I think unless there's any objection from the commission to take them under advisement and report back on September 3rd? No, okay, there we go,
If you are able to read through it by then.
yeah.
Looks like I'm
Okay.
gonna have a lot of time on that one, that's good.
Evaluation process review.
Well, good morning, commissioners.
Good morning.
As you're aware, for the last several months, we've recognized that we have a lacking and potentially not even existing evaluation process and policy for employees. And so, the administrator had asked that I work on a policy and a document for the evaluation. So in front of you, you have it's about a 3-page policy followed by, a single-page evaluation document that I have prepared. I did get some selection of things to review from other towns, cities, and other counties. So I've kind of taken what I thought was the best of all of those and implemented them into what I think is good for the county. After the first few pages there, you have I sent this to department heads, and so
Okay.
Director Fox and Director Boulay gave some comments. They were the only ones that gave feedback, and so you have those comments provided also for you to review.
Okay,
And I think for this meeting, all I'm asking is that you start looking it over, look at the comments of the department heads, and give me any suggestions, recommendations. My goal would be that we can make any updates to what I've prepared and have it approved to be effective and implemented by January 1 of 2026.
I suspect the sheriff said they're reviewing,
Yeah,
they're
so-
using it probably right now.
So as long as you are all okay, what I would propose on this SOP document is that it only apply to non-PRCC or Sheriff's Office employees. They have their own software that is specific for public safety. It's far more strenuous than what I've implemented, and I would hate for them to not have that or to double dip and do 2 things. It takes a little time for supervisors to write these. So this would be for any non-public safety division.
The other thing, I think this is a great starting point, I think we need to have this process and timeline in place. But I think we also need to have a separate evaluation form to be able to evaluate supervisors. I think it's a different standard, the different things you're looking for. And so I think, let's get this down, but I think we need to look at something for supervisors as well.
when you say supervisor, you're talking.
Department heads,
Department
mostly,
heads.
maybe deputies.
So would deputies be reviewed, yeah, I guess that's the next question,
Deputies.
deputies be reviewed by us, I mean, we've got,
I think the deputy would be the department head, but it's
Yeah,
probably
I
a little
think so,
different
yeah.
form than this form.
Yeah, what I've done prior as a department head, not the elected officials, but the department head is reviewed by me. And then, I brought him in front of the commission to report back, and, I mean, it's, 99.9% of the time, it's all good. It's a good process, because again, people don't know what they're not doing right. And that it kind of helps build a rapport, again, with the commission. Again, to give the kudos back, we all like that, and, it's just a great communication tool.
well, I think I've shared my personal feeling that part of the difficulty has been the commission has not been clear in their directives, and the conversations have only evolved when something went awry as opposed to when something was in compliance with what our goals were. If you don't know what you should have, it's hard to hit our targets.
Right, Right, well, and again, we've operated under that for way too long. It's gonna take, these are just the first steps, some of the first steps to get to where we're going, and we make progress each and every day, and, and sometimes there's even the use of using the old way method as a validation sometimes for doing something. And so there's the growing pains that we're gonna be experiencing here, and but it'll all be for the better of county government for sure, especially in Penobscot.
It hopefully will be observed, but it should be said that this is not punitive action. This is a action to assure that we're all kind of working on the same wavelength or the same goals. But once we set the goals, then we've got something to track it towards. And as more and more county employees turn over more frequently, I think it's a healthy process for people to look forward to. I know companies I've worked at, there was a point where the owner would come into the store and sit for anyone who wanted to come in and talk to them.
Right.
Not in a disciplinary manner or even just get to know them. And I think that's becoming more and more important in county government, at least at this county, with the additional things we're doing. So thank you for your work on this. I think it's a great step in the right direction, and hopefully as we kind of institutionalize this, it'll take on more value.
Yeah, no, those are great points, Chair, and the one really that you said at first is, and we've communicated this each time we talked about it, an evaluation is not a disciplinary tool. It should not be used that way.
Right.
It may be used in sort of a correcting action or correction of a behavior or correction of something that just needs immediate attention. But it is not intended for, nor should it use be as a direct disciplinary tool.
I would agree with that. I mean, if we get to the point where we're using it, then we've really failed in what we should have been doing.
Right.
I guess the only caveat I have here, because we do have a number of department heads who are elected, should we inquire of them as to whether there are some public-facing components to this? Like in the discussion of the administrator's position, we've looked at what some other agencies, municipalities and whatnot do, and they have a 360 evaluation process. And I'm wondering if these are people that are public-facing, whether that may be a component that we want to ask them about and include in the reflection of those. I don't think we do it at all levels, but for certain department heads that interact regularly, that might be.
It's certainly a good idea. While individuals may be elected and they can't be removed unless there's some egregious action that goes through legislation, certainly these aren't even meant for disciplinary action anyway, but for an elected person, at a minimum, we should be holding them to county standards and codes of ethics and things like that to make sure that they're at least facing the public in a way that represents the county the way that you all would like it represented.
Yeah. And I think as we as a county try to exhibit maybe more transparency and interaction with our municipal and resident partners, that it becomes a valuable tool that gives people an entry point. If you don't know there's a problem there, I'm sure you would like to hear if somebody came back and said, boy, that sandwich I got last week wasn't up to your standards. You want to fix that as a owner of a business that depends on relationships. And likewise, I think we're a service-oriented agency. Any other thoughts? I'm very grateful that you brought it forward. I know we've been talking about this for a while, but we're making some good
We're not
steps.
gonna talk about it anymore, we're gonna think about it now.
Well, we're moving in the right direction. We're moving in the right direction. And I realize, the feedback that we have gotten from a number of department heads on your department is this has brought a perspective that has helped us stabilize our workforce, and there are some very positive responses. And I just think this is another example of you bringing forward something that is a contribution to what we want to do to be better. So thank you.
Do you want this to come back at a regular meeting, or do you wanna kind of wait for your budget process to get out of your way, when would you like to revisit this topic?
You've got some homework, so what's your capacity? Do you want to wait till the second meeting of the month, or?
Yeah, I would recommend, working on the supervisor one. And when you get a draft of that one, this one seems to be pretty much all set.
Yeah.
So give
maybe-
it time, so when you get the draft of it, and target that maybe for the 24th. And, yeah, and if one's done, we can approve one, and if we need to tinker with the other one, then.
Did you happen to, in your inquiries to other counties, find any counties that had done something specifically for department heads?
I think there was one that replied to my email that did something different. So I have some templates that I can kind of use, but I can also put it out again in case some people forgot to respond to it.
Did you reach out to NACO to see if they had any suggestions?
I looked online and I did not find much, but I will find an email and contact somebody.
Okay, I just think that, and there are, a couple of other larger states that I have contacts in that I'd be happy to share with you if you wanted to just say, what do your counties do? Because once you get out of New England, you have much
Very
more
different.
robust county governments. So there
County
might be
governments in other states are much more
Yeah.
functional
Yeah.
with like motor vehicle registrations and voter things, so they have a lot more procedures in place.
I'm thinking, I know Ohio, Florida, Utah, Wisconsin, folks that have been at this a while that might have some HR related things that could be helpful if you want to make that, I'd be happy to information. Okay,
Sounds like a plan.
thank you very much. Do you want the rest of these items that we have here?
I'm
too?
gonna leave them here, and then after your workshop, I will come collect whatever is left over.
Sounds good. At this point, the dessert of our workshop, the administrative,
Dessert, oh, yes.
I was dessert.
you are the appetizer.
Plead
This time I was
the
the
fifth, I
appetizer.
don't know, yeah.
Okay.
Gosh, I still have to tolerate you tonight, attend with you this evening at that, yeah. Parking, so we talked about parking at the department head meeting.
Yep.
And there wasn't really a whole lot of, weren't a whole lot of remarks. I did offer the opportunity, I made it clear that, the commission was willing to consider some changes if that's what, whether we just numbered all the spots, which, I said I'm not really in favor of that, but if you are, then we could consider that, or if we just need to change signage. But here's your one shot, because to be honest with you, parking is not a priority for me at this point. There are way too many other things, so if you want to make major substantive changes, now's the time to do it. There was one department that did ask for some changes in signage, so Brian is working on that, that's appropriate. And aside from that, everybody else I think was kind of in agreement. We talked a little bit about, even if we, one theory is, well, we take out all the assigned parking and it's first come, first served. I think you still see the same people parking in pretty much the same spots, just basically depend on, for the most part. We do have an issue, as I looked at it, with the number of parking spots available on campus and our employees, that if everybody came off Court Street and if everybody parked down there, they would be way out back in our storage area.
Yeah.
And I'm still not sure there'd be enough parking spots, but with all the SO vehicles down there. So it got me thinking a little bit, and then thinking of across the street. So I'm throwing out this idea, I think I mentioned it once. Commissioner Trumbull had talked about a little bit of curb appeal across the street, and any consideration for a temporary parking lot over there. Another reason that I think it's a good idea, the only reason it's a bad idea is if we sell it the next year or so, right? But depending on how much we put into it. But Franklin Street is gonna cause some changes in parking. I can see it coming.
Yep.
And that's just gonna push everything up here. When I say up here, from Franklin Street down below, post office parking, all that pressure is gonna be pushed to up here. And up here could include across the street. So I'm just bringing that up, if it's an item that you are in consensus to look at. I can see what I can get for information.
Has anyone had a look at the post office contract?
Well, last time I looked at it, I'm in agreement with Brian. I don't think we provide the number of spots that, based on my prior knowledge, I would wish you luck to try and get fewer. And I think that what goes on now, well, they're not listening, but what I know goes on now is that they're kind of flexible, especially if we don't park like right up front. So.
Yeah, I mean, I am probably more interested in what the effect of Franklin Street does for those people who have to be regularly in and out there. And I'd like to, talk with EMA, which I think reserve spots or at least spots they capture in that section right
by the exit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other factor I would like us to consider as we do Franklin Street before we get into winter is, can we put some kind of walkway from Franklin Street up there so that our officers are not walking up that blind driveway to get to their vehicles?
We've looked at that. I mean, the design alone, that will be a very expensive project. I mean, nobody's going to approve of walking up and down the ramp. Does it go on? Sure, I know it goes on. But yeah, to approve that or to, short of shutting it off to vehicle traffic, then that forces everybody out and around and out here. Not so sure that's a good idea either. But that was the one major concern that I brought forth pretty emphatically, was parking is going to, but everybody understood.
I wonder if the city manager would reconsider past city manager's position on spots on Franklin Street.
But we can ask.
I don't think it's,
Yeah.
So where did the Northern Workforce Development Board, where do they park?
I don't know where Galen Park. I don't know if do you know?
So I can speak a little bit, actually I'll come in front of you guys and be a little bit more professional here. As somebody who works on Franklin Street, so with IT specifically, I actually park in the old probate parole next to the EMA spots, because we still have a couple there.
Right.
I will also say the sheriff's office employees, they take up some of those probation and parole spots. They also take up some of the post office spots that are across that back girder, whatever that's called.
Yeah.
Galen, NWDB, I think it actually depends on the day. I think he does have a parking permit with us. He also does just park on Franklin Street.
He does.
The downside right now is they're doing street work on Franklin Street, so there are no parking spots, but there is street parking still. So that is kind of an issue with Wabanaki Health now down there. They take up a lot more spots.
Right.
So street parking's pretty tough during the day. I think it'll be interesting once the sheriff's office moves down there. I know the old IT manager who had a car outfitted to be a fire department car. He never got tickets, so they may allow the sheriff's office to park down there without giving them tickets because they're sheriff's office cars. But I can't speak on that because it's Bangor.
Yeah, no, understood. Well, I just, if there is a need for civil to be in and out, I just think it would be unfortunate to require them to park up in the parking lot, because that's just not even as quick as where it is now to get to. We have 2 spots designated out here, I believe, for deputies who are in essence on call that are in the building detectives.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Yeah. I'd just like to find a way to make that a possibility. Maybe we put a climbing rope and trampolines up.
So I have a thought on that. I don't know if it's possible. Working on Franklin Street, and sometimes I don't walk up the ramp, but there is a little bit of asphalt that goes. Right? Yeah, I run. Yeah, there's a little bit of asphalt just to the left of the ramp. I don't know if we could put stairs in that goes up that. It'd be a little bit inconvenient.
On the outside?
Yeah, so there's the ramp, if you're looking at it, it's the ramp that goes up.
Yeah.
Just to the left of that, there's a little bit of asphalt that goes up the side of the hill. I don't know if we could put stairs there, it's a bit steep. It also comes, it goes up behind that, parking, and it's behind all the parking. So we might have to rework that a little bit too.
Yeah, well, I just briefly looked at the hillside, it is steep, it's tiered. So the question would be, is there a way to put a walkway from the sidewalk up? And I don't know if that's what you're saying would be.
I'm not so sure a walkway would be, I don't think a walkway would be, it would have to be a stair.
Stairwell.
A stair, is that what you're thinking? Yeah, a set of stairs, probably with a deck halfway down or something, and then to get out of the steepness. And
Do we know who owns that land?
who owns that land, right?
From the Franklin Street sidewalk up, is that county property?
Yeah, right there, yeah, yeah.
But we still need permission from the city if we were going to construct something on
I would assume technically yes, we probably would,
it.
and would be wise to,
There's
yeah,
Public sidewalk.
right, yeah. So I can have Brian look into that.
Yep.
Yeah, he's probably got most, if not all, the information that's been looked at before. As they say, you can, for the right price, you can do almost anything, but, yeah.
Well,
And then there's the maintenance of the stairs during the winter. And,
all we need is one claim on the risk pool that probably covers whatever the cost would be to put a stairwell in. If somebody inadvertently walked up the ramp and came in.
Sure, well, then again, technically, if you're walking up the ramp, you're kind of violating, but in any event.
Is it posted no pedestrian?
There is a sign that says,
Yeah.
I believe there's a sign that says no
I think there's
walking
at
or
least
no
one.
pedestrians.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the reality of life versus the legality of life comes into play here.
Yeah.
I mean, if people are gonna get to their car, are they gonna walk up Franklin Street, up Hammond Street, and then into the parking lot where they're still walking on vehicles to get to where they park?
Also, I will say in the winter, trying to get up Hammond Street, sometimes you're actually gonna be at the bottom of Hammond Street Hill by the time you try to get up there. It's pretty icy in the winter sometimes,
I can imagine.
and the steepness of the hill.
The fact that we have concrete that prohibits the sun from hitting the surface, and probably has.
So I will have Brian check on the stairs, or see if there is some other solution there. But again, kind of bring it back to the parking lot, the temporary parking lot across the street.
I'm sure they can get down easily, it's getting back up that's the problem.
Back on Franklin?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I left Franklin, I was heading across the street, but yeah.
All right, well, thank you for your.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Okay. So we'll never talk about parking again, is what you're saying, or?
Oh, gosh, no.
Can you come back
That
with
is
a
such a,
recommendation?
yeah, no, what I'd like is seriously, is there a support or some sort of consensus to look at
Do you have
something
to
across the street?
can that existing pavement in the back just be cleaned up and rehabbed and there was quite a bit of pavement there.
Up there?
At the Y property.
Well, so there's pavement, there's a road that goes across there, it wouldn't be good for parking, because it's just like one lane wide.
No, it was a lot behind where we tore down the Y, that's cool.
You're
Right,
talking
up
about the paid parking lot that no one wants to use because their cars get.
Right. Is that what
Right,
you're
and
talking about?
what they'll do is they'll just continue to park on Court Street. I mean, that's an option right now, but yeah, they'll just park on Court Street. So my vision is that if we did something over there, I don't know, 15 cars, if we could get them in, if that could even be where the commissioners park, unless you want to remain out here, we could open this up to public or whatnot. It offers more flexibility up there. Some might continue to park on Court Street and have to come out every afternoon and move their cars, so they don't get ticketed. It brings about curb appeal, it comes with a price, so again, out of limited solutions, that's kind of all I got. Yeah.
And I guess my primary focus was what we did for the Franklin Street part, because we know that's gonna be a problem. So,
Even with a stairwell, though, you're still gonna have the parking problem. The stairwell takes care of the transition, the access. The parking problem is gonna be that you're gonna wanna put more park. Now, some of it will be relieved, because once that happens, the goal is to move IT up here. But again, that brings their vehicles up here. And so now they're up here instead of down there, and the same thing with the SO, that's gonna bring the traffic more down there. So might be stealing more of the PO, or even EMA spots, and again, the idea was, well, okay, but if we can move things slowly up here, and move the transport vans maybe to a different area that allows more parking along the back, it's a little more convenient. All that pushes everything up here, and then all this has to go somewhere, so that's my,
I mean, we're living with the current situation, but when we replace or we shift civil and patrol, there's probably more in and out traffic there that will no longer be in proximity to their office.
oh, absolutely, yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's my first, I mean, whatever we can do to help that situation. And that's why the stairwell and maybe reposting those guardrail spaces behind the post office for them first is the first step in this equation.
The other thing is, I think we need to look at that city lot back here, I mean, see how much it's used, I mean, I think investing in that makes more sense than investing across the street. I mean, I think our goal needs to be to sell across the street, and then if we could work with the city on this lot, that, they can't be selling any permits out here. Does anybody park out there?
So that's kind of where this started, was that, I think I'm told there's like 5 or 6 vehicles on average, but if we park there, oh, we get ticketed.
Yeah, but there must be like, what are the 30 to 40 spaces out there?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
I mean, it doesn't make sense for them to keep that, if they're only selling a few permits a month.
Right.
If we can, I think we can make a deal to buy it from the city, or get a really good deal on permits, but I think we can buy it pretty.
Why can't you pay one permit fee? And
There's always,
negotiate.
as Scott said, if you got the money, there's
Right.
pretty much anything you can do.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, with the-
well, one idea was to
And I don't want to
trade
discount
the properties,
the
but,
need,
yeah.
discount the need of our employees in this building, but my primary concern is what happens when Franklin Street opens. Because those guys need to be responding in a timely manner. And I just don't want somebody to get hurt rushing to their vehicle up a driveway. We can tell them all we want, but we know that sometimes the shortest distance.
Well, if that's a priority of the commission, then we want to take a serious look at that, because that's going to be an expensive project. And it really should have been considered when, with the decision going down there, and it really should have been considered when, I guess kind of long before this, when it comes to, pricing this all out. Because we could have applied some ARPA dollars in there or something somewhere.
I understood.
I don't believe that's going to be, and still, that doesn't take care of parking.
I know it doesn't take care of parking, but we can only solve so many problems at the same time.
Yep.
I mean, what's the feeling of the?
So
On what
On
specific
Franklin
issue?
Street.
As far as the steps?
Yes.
So,
I think I should look into that, if that,
yeah, see what.
we'll see what we got, but, yeah.
How come that cost?
I think we want to know what we're dealing with before it's, before we have the sheriff's department sitting here telling us that they just had 2 people fall this winter trying to get to their vehicles. Just my opinion. So I guess if we were able to look at the consequences of putting the stairs in there, so we know what we're dealing with, that would be a good first step.
I agree.
Okay? Moving on to municipal leader meeting update.
Oh, yeah, I reached out to, town manager Melissa. I haven't heard back yet.
Okay.
But
the goal would be possibly in September to do something.
It is, and I'm gonna segue that into the, spreadsheet that I sent you.
Okay.
What's this meeting gonna be about?
That's what he's gonna tell us right
We
now.
need to address the issues that are in the spreadsheet with regards to the funding gap for the county. And
Yes.
I'm trying to be respectful here with the amount of information. the content of the information.
I think if we've looked at.
However, yeah, I've said this many times, but
Time's our friend.
it is not. Thank you.
So I think what
So-
we're looking at is logistically what we would need to do to try to retire some of that debt. Because if I
Retire some of
understand
that
right,
debt.
or bridge some of the gap.
Bridge the gap, yeah.
Physically either, right?
That is one, but that's long-term.
Yeah, I'm talking about what we do in this budget cycle to start addressing this so it doesn't grow larger.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
go ahead.
so the answer to that one would be is we need to put as close to $3 million into the budget towards the county, the jail cap, which would exceed the jail cap by about, I think, right around $500,000, just shy of it, with the growth factor and everything. That needs to be done to just keep everything sort of at, stop the bleeding, that's right, status quo.
This is obviously my first year as commissioner on the budget, and I was on the budget committee, but I missed this, being part of the budget, not seeing this in the budget. How did we get to this point where we didn't address it in the past? How come this wasn't worked in the budget in the past?
Yeah, I've been expecting that question, wasn't so sure it was gonna be from a commissioner at first, but,
Sorry.
well, no, but in honesty, so, again, I'll be respectful here, but I need to be upfront, and, it was, especially last budget meeting, it was pointed out, I pointed out the last 2 years
But you said
particularly,
this is
the
coming, you're
revenue.
gonna have to deal with this.
Well, but the revenue, but when I show the budget committee and the commission, that there's almost over a $3 million funding gap in the jail budget.
But that's what I'm saying, how
It
come it
wasn't-
wasn't ever put in the actual budget? How come it was always said?
It's because it's never been really truly addressed, because I think that I've never really, so the only thing for me here is that I've never really pushed the commission to this point, and I think that also that there's been a desire or a hope that state funding would change. That.
Because, no, seriously, on the budget
Yep.
committee, I remember that now, sitting there, I'm thinking, okay, there's a gap, they must have a plan thinking this is gonna be addressed.
right.
So that's why it's not put in the budget this year, but, so, and then it didn't get addressed, and it compounded over a couple of years, so that's where we're at now.
That is correct. And when we went for the TAN, when I presented the report, these have always been my concerns, and now it's, we try, I think, again, right, wrong, or indifferent, how we got here, is a simple fact that, the state has not paid its fair share of that jail. It has not. And so, in essence, what the community's now gonna have to do is we can't afford, we've spent all of our fund balance and then some. In order to, and our cash flow at the end of the year is going to be minimal going into 2026. So at this point, you could be looking at a $20+ million TAN, which I can assure you, sitting here, the amount of defending that I had to do, which this was part of my defense, saying I'm gonna make sure they do something about it this time, is that if we jump from 11.2 to 20, the banks are not gonna be in favor of that. I did a lot of sweet talking last year in order to get, and this was part of it. We do, and so if anybody is listening, and for the commission, we have a game plan. The first step, though, is this budget. And you're right, Commissioner Trumbull, we need to stop the bleeding. Then we need to sit down. Yep, it has to be, because $2.75 million a month is what we're bleeding through. So if you only put, this is just a real short example, you just say, well, we can only do $1.5 million. Well, when we go to the TAN, we're gonna have to calculate December in there as well. So we're gonna do cash flow from January to September, figure out how much the TAN is, but in addition to that, like we normally do, we're gonna have to add in December, because we're shortchanging ourselves, so we're gonna have a gap, so we're gonna pay everything back, or we're not gonna have money to go for December. Or we're gonna have to hold payment back, and then borrow money to pay off the borrowed money. And that is just.
We can't spend money, we're spending money we don't have.
Yeah. The second step would be to switch to a fiscal year, which this is what we need. We need to talk to our municipalities, we need to.
But that doesn't fix the deficit in the jail budget, the fiscal year part of it, you still have that.
It stops the bleeding.
That helps the cash
The
flow.
fiscal year will
Yeah, it
advance
sells the
our,
cash flow as
Right.
can, but you still can,
Well,
Well,
no, but that doesn't
no.
have cash.
yeah, so if I could, just, so the 3 million, this first 3 million is not gonna fix our cash flow problem.
right,
That will, it holds it steady, right?
exactly. You still have the arrears.
So if we switch to a fiscal year, it will advance our, so we do a 6-month budget. And again, the municipalities are not gonna really like this, but I think if we talk to them and we explain it out, that it makes sense in the end, particularly, especially with our overall goal. So we advance up, that helps with our cash flow. We will still need a TAN.
Right.
Even after we do that, very minimal one. So then we flow through, and when we bring up the new facility, when we build a new facility, that $3 million, it will not be dollar for dollar to roll over, but it'll be pretty darn close, becomes the bond payment.
Right.
We won't have to board, we'll have efficiencies, we'll have a lot of things. And again, I'm not making promises to anybody that it's gonna cover it dollar for dollar. But if you take into the fact that today, I think I ran a couple numbers, I have a sheet for you, so like, I wanna say like if we did a bond payment at 60 million for 30 years, I think it was like 4.5 million. So we're talking, well, that's another $1.25 million, Scott, that you're gonna, $1.75 million you're gonna throw on the tax roll. Well, but what you also need to consider is the 3 million that the jail is now at a gap of is already growing, and it will grow. So if that grows 10% over the next 5 years, we have a new facility, that's a 50% growth, there's another $1.5 million, there's your 4.5, 4.75. It's pretty simple math. I mean, you can get down to the details and try to jockey it any way you like, but this is front and center.
Yeah.
And this really, and when we hear from municipalities that they can't afford this new facility, well,
They can't,
one of the things that they need to understand is they're not currently paying for the full facility as it is.
Yeah.
And we're not even talking about, having to.
Any more palatable.
Right, the $1 million Band-Aids if we keep this facility. So to me, that's the positive side. There's trouble, there are problems. That's the first question, Commissioner Trumbull, I know that we're gonna hear constantly. And it would be a question that I would be asking. How did we get here? Why? How? Why? Then once we get through that, then we lay out this all out. Then we have to start having that conversation. Well, now we need to do something about it. Thank you. Yes, now let's do something about it. And then you start looking at the facts. Well, we can't afford that. We need a new facility. Thank you. I know it's not as simple as that. There's a lot of work, but it starts here. It starts here with us.
We
and
can't just keep kicking it down the road.
Yeah.
I mean, we've known for a couple of years now, you've cautioned us. It's now at a point that we're in a critical situation coming into next year if we don't address it in the
Yes.
budget cycle.
Yes, so we need to communicate this to our partners, our municipalities.
Yeah, we're in a
As soon as
7-month
possible.
pregnancy, in a couple months, it's gonna be a big surprise.
And we need to bring them in to have this, that's what this next meeting needs to be about, in my opinion. We need to talk.
When's
this
that
out.
meeting taking place?
Sometime in September.
Still
once
trying
we
to
find out.
schedule it, yes.
But we don't want to be so close to the budget requirements that people get any more agitated than they already were.
Right. And we don't want to be any further or deeper into our goal of a new facility. I mean,
Well, I mean, we jeopardize the ability to do that.
That's gonna
if we
sour
don't
it.
have the appropriate financial, I mean, at some
Right.
point, we've got to reset the broken arm.
yes, we have to, thank you.
So
Yep.
I would say that by our second meeting, we should have a plan to present that we can start sharing with municipalities.
Yep. Are you in support of a letter going out in advance?
I would think so. I mean, there's no sense in putting off the reality of
Yes,
it.
I'd like to draft up a letter and have you review it and then, and get it out probably sooner than later, because I have a suspicion that,
Well, some of us have had discussions recently, so, but I don't think people, until they see something official in front of them,
right,
really absorb the impact of what that means.
Right. yes. And if somebody has a better idea, I'm all ears. I've been,
Besides
saying it.
lottery tickets.
Yeah,
Eye charts and graphs do a lot
Yes.
to a lot of people.
Well,
Yes.
I mean, that's part of why this information the meetings, designing this flyer. I mean, with Dan's recommendation, we revised one of the pages in there to put in financial data, how our budget operates, and Scott was able to work with Brenda and get me some charts. So I'm hoping, I've set that on, so I'm hoping that in the next week or so, we'll start to see a draft of that come
Hang in
back.
there, Wendy.
Another reason for this discussion is that I have the 21-22 audits that are completed here for the county. You know, Brenda's done some great work.
That's
Finance
21,
department. 21 and 22.
Oh, two of them, so he's gonna get two of them.
Yep, and 23 is, they're working hard on 23. The reason I bring this up is that in 22 is when this problem starts. This funding gap was created back when we got the news, the sheriff alluded to it in the meeting the other day about when the state said,
No more
you know,
supplementals.
yeah, well, no, when they said you've got to board out.
Oh.
And then it was, well, come, you know, basically it was, we had to board out or we're gonna lose our license, so we had to comply. That's the major contributor to all of this.
Yeah.
And that didn't occur till halfway through 22. And that's when you're gonna start seeing it. So, you know, I brought it up again to the auditors as they were seeing it in 22. I've been talking with them right along and, yeah, let's get through it, let's see it. One of the things that in talking to the lead auditor the other day was that, we need to bring to the commission is to, and you'll see it in the spreadsheet, you're gonna see a line that's a due to, due from. And I think I highlighted it for you, that is, that needs to be closed out. So the reason, and this is the other thing, is we're not seeing it in the financials is because it's coming across as an AR or a receivable. So the money's no good, we're never gonna see it. And so, and when the auditors say, well, if that's true, then you gotta write it up. I said, I know, that's what I'm saying to you. This is what, well, we need commission approval. I said, I know, that's what I'm saying. So they're gonna be coming before you at the next meeting to review these two. And then we're gonna come across that. And when we do, I will tell you that the financials will not look very good for us. But the good news is I think we've really kind of ripped that Band-Aid off here today, and we really need to move forward with this. And you know, like I said, it's not gonna be easy. It's a lot of work to do, but we're good for it.
Well, I mean, we recognize that there was a real lack of financial information. And I think if you go back to your predecessor or the original
Or two.
administrator, he cautioned a couple of times that at that point,
Yes, he
the
did.
jail was
Yes, he did.
facing shortfalls.
Yes, he did.
But we were thrown a lifeline by the state by them doing supplemental budgets
Right.
that included
Right.
more jail funding.
Right.
And other jails were good enough to recognize
Right.
the complexity Penobscot had, and much of that money came to us.
Yeah.
That helped, but that stopped, I believe, in 20.
Yeah, it was 20 or 21, I think, when it closed in, and again, that kind of stemmed the tide of large gaps in the funding. We would have that, then we would get supplemental funding, and it would close it. And then if you countered that, as I show you in the spreadsheet, with the county's surplus and deficit, which if you look across, we've really tightened our belts here the last few years because we made some major changes. That gap has also closed, so between the two, you know, it used to cover it. It doesn't any longer. You'll see it as plain as day, and especially 22, 23, 23 and a 24, 25 is, yeah.
This is not light reading, is what you're telling us.
The spreadsheet, oh, yeah, this is, probably have more questions than, yeah, for the auditors, but my sheet summarizes this, I think, in a very detailed but summarized manner. I've given you all the accounts. Again, in that spreadsheet, I took the budget, the actual, you're seeing a surplus deficit on the actual for Fund 1. Fund 1 is our county budget. That's our county budget. Fund 4 is the jail. And where it misses is people, well, the jail is in the county budget, is it? No, it is not.
Well,
that was-
I was gonna say, when we do the budget talks, we never talk about Department 9. Department 9 is not even in there. We talk about
Everybody avoids
21.
it. Everybody avoids it like the
Yeah.
plague.
Well,
We do.
21 is our piece of the pie,
Right,
but we never talk about Department 9.
Right,
So tell us
Never.
about Department 9. So
Well-
Department 9 is the jail
Right.
revenue and expense. And right
Yes.
now, it's budgeted at 3,413,000, that's a loss.
right, which the last 2 years I pointed out, right?
Yeah.
Matter of fact, last
Yeah.
year you asked
Yeah.
if there were any questions, did I want to expand on it any further? And I said, not if there are any questions, I've seen everybody understood. Again, I think our hopes were on the fact that state funding, we might apply a little bit more pressure to the state. You know, for me, it's, you know, it's water under the bridge, we've got to move forward, we have to move forward.
Yeah.
We have to.
Solution's gonna be in our own
True,
pyramid.
but-
Even 2 or 3 years ago, if I'd have, you know, I would have said you would have had to put $1 million in the first year, in 21, 22. That would have been balked at. Huge. Oh, no, we can't, no, so we would have kicked the can down the road. So in 23, the 24 would have been $1.5 million to $3 million that we're talking about now. Oh, we can't do that, let's kick the can down. And this is what we, you know, this is what Mainers is we do, we hope, you know, we pass it along and hope that some other option comes forward. And maybe this message finally gets to Augusta or gets to our representation to go to Augusta to say, Penobscot County Commissioners, our citizens can't afford this in their property taxes. We agree, you dropped the ball. We've been hollering about this for the last 20 years. Never mind the facility,
We
so,
had a pretty concerted effort to educate. The Criminal Justice Committee got it. They added $4 million. It was, I believe, a unanimous decision
Yes,
of
right.
that recommendation. But when it got to the appropriations table,
that's right.
it got ground up in the gears. I
Yeah.
mean, we did not even get the full $4 million in that funding the governor had recommended.
Right.
So there were 3 different pools of money that were in play. The governor's budget recommended $4 million to continue for MAT funding to the jails. We got 1 year of that funding.
Yep.
The Criminal Justice Committee bill that came out recommended $4 million per year for 2 years on top of the
Right.
MAT funding.
Right,
That would have been $8 million more per year. Would have been everything we needed, but it would have been a step in the right direction. That didn't get funded.
why did it only happen for 1 year?
Because that's what the
They did.
people in the back room decided they could afford.
They did the same thing that anybody else could be accused of, and will probably be, you know, they kick the can down the road. They're hoping that there's something that we can find a pot of gold later on that will take care of all this, but.
The unfortunate nature was it was not a strategically designed budget. It was 2 parts, which is, to my knowledge, the first time ever, if not in a long time, that they did a structural budget to keep the doors open July 1st, and then did the secondary part of the budget, which won't go into effect until September, because they couldn't get a 2/3 majority.
Yeah.
So they did majority budgets again.
Yeah.
And that meant that a smaller cohort of individuals in that building decided on that budget.
Well, that supplemental budget also takes money out of deeds.
It does.
And
Oh,
that's,
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
that's,
Well, it'll be
That's money
replaced though
that-
by, you know,
Yeah,
by the
sure.
other piece, but.
yeah.
So on that news of jail funding, this last round, we just got our allocation for this year, and even though we ended up a little bit better on Matt, so they took Matt, the 4 million, and they used the formula. And I wasn't sure about how that would come out, well, it came out about $80,000 to our benefit. Usually, last couple of years, we've gotten $500,000.
Oh, good. So
They
it's only-
distributed to everybody instead of those that just asked. However, on the grand scheme of things, overall funding, we're down about 11,000 over last year, which isn't huge, but even last year's amount wasn't appropriate,
So without the 80, we'd be down close to 100.
yes. Yep, so, yeah. We do have, this is a last minute item too, we do, if we could, go into an executive session for personnel under the sheriff. It is an emergency matter that needs to be addressed, time-sensitive matter, I guess I should say, not necessarily emergency, but,
Yeah.
yeah.
So at this point, do we have anything further in public that we want to bring up? Okay.
Moving on to executive session.
Want to go into executive session on this employee?
So I have a
If we
motion
could,
to go
please,
into an executive session for personnel, and I have a second.
Yes.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is unanimous of those present, and that would include the administrator, the HR director, the treasurer? Anyone else?
Monday's
Yeah, the sheriff, I'm calling.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
I'm your audience, what do you